Welcome to the Dr. Ferrer podcast, hosted by pulmonologist and author Dr. Gustavo Ferrer and me, Amanda Ferrer. Hello, and welcome back to the Dr. Ferrer podcast. We are here to talk about living longer, aging better, and finding peace even when life gets hard. I'm Amanda.
I'm Gustavo Ferrer. I'm a physician, pulmonologist, spent many years studying not only the signs of aging or anti-aging, because this is a great focus on what we do in medicine, but more so looking into what really matters. If we look at this phenomenon today, there's nothing wrong in pursuing great appearance, but there's much more than just erasing wrinkles. Aging is more growing with wisdom, with more clarity, more energy and purpose. Research actually has proven that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm 24 and I have a lot of grays. So I feel like this is something that, I kind of struggle with, especially women and younger women trying to be like, okay, I have to start doing this today. And I see that a lot in especially younger girls, in the sense that like there's 10-year-olds wanting to put on retinol on their faces, and I didn't really grow up with that. I was always like into skincare and things like that, but life gets to you, and I think it's just the beauty of aging is the wisdom that you get from it, and the memories that you make, and the moments that you have with the people you love here. And I think that's something that we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely. I think I want to say that aging is shall not and is not to be considered a disease. There's nothing that to fix or pursue fixing right now. There is a strong evidence that you can find people in their 30s, even younger, the age that we're living, that they are miserable, bitter, tired, fatigued, and it's much more than just pursuing something that will change the whole process. It's more related to what we do, to the purpose that we have, to the things that we do socially. There's strong evidence about that.
Yeah, and compared to like the 30-year-olds that, we kind of hear about and that we know, I compare it to my grandma, who is 85, and she
87.
87, and she is doing amazing. She's always had community around her. She isn't worried about the way she looks or like the anti-aging kind of thing. I also think it's, generationally, of course, but she is just like so full of life and vibrant, and I feel like that's her mindset and her habits and her purpose that she knows she's here for,
Absolutely. I think we are in one of the most amazing time in the history of humankind. We have access to incredible technology. We see medicine evolving every minute. We see great things happening. But by the same token, we see a social phenomenon where this week that we are recording this, we have the CEO of Facebook, former Facebook or Meta, testifying because the algorithm somehow is created to induce behavior in young kids and young adults that are damaging. They are affecting their mental health. And if it's fixation in appearance is at the center of this phenomenon.
Yeah, and it's wanting to look older and be an adult already at like 10 years old. And it's literally like social media.
And when it gets to the 20, they want to be younger.
Yeah. And then they don't understand. I feel like if I ever talk to younger kids, they're always like, I can't wait to like get a job and move out of my parents' house. Oh, no. When I'm my age, like now, I want to be like, I just love like nostalgia and being younger, and I just want to go back to that and that moment in my life. And I feel like it's always chasing like wanting to be older, but also not looking older. It's just always gonna be a, what's it called, like juxtaposition of
Of
life.
course, and it will depends on the season. You know,
Of course,
if
yeah.
you are a teenager, you want to look older,
Mm-hmm.
but you want to preserve your youth.
Mm-hmm.
When you are in your 20s and 30s, you actually want to dial back
Yeah.
in the appearance,
Yeah.
but also maintain the maturity.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with maintaining those ideas. But I think more than that, what research shows is that um, there's much more than just using a cream or using a medication or using a supplement. There's more into that. There's nothing that you can fix with one of those things, either Botox and whatever. It's all about the mindset, the habits, the purpose, the social connectivity, and that's what we're going to be diving in today. We are going to unpack this idea of anti-aging. What are the things that we can do right now today? My my personal pursuing all of this, I remain open to learn. I do believe that there is a lot of research and there's a lot of groups of people working in specific things biologically that can actually delay the process of aging. We're going to remain open about that in the next episode. We're going to dive a little bit into that, and we're going to unpack several myths and things that are circulating out there, and we're going to unfold and talk about things that are research reported that they are looking very good. And I think biologically, there is a growing bulk of evidence that we're going to find things that really will delay the process of aging. However, in the meantime, there is much more than just the biological clock. Uh, there is also a lot of things that we need to do because we're not just a biological animal as we spoke. We live in a society. We have a lot of things that are impacting our age, impacting the way we age. And part of that is the social connectivity, is exercise, and many of the other things that we can start doing today. And we're going to be addressing those things. So I think why don't we break it down and we talk a little bit about strong evidence research. We're going to talk the science of what it shows today. And we're also going to talk about some of the distractions about anti-agents out there. And then we're going to be given some powerful shift that people can make and we can make today to begin to take care of ourselves and be part of this phenomenon of aging well.
Yes. I mean, you are the research guy and you love all sorts of research. I get it all the time about anything. Anything that he says is always backed up by research, which I love. I love because I know it's not just coming from him. It's coming from a bunch of other sources that have the same conclusion at the same time. But what was the most recent study that you saw about like adults and their aging?
There's a research study that I have mentioned to you guys that was published in 2023, and they follow multiple people through many decades, and the strongest predictor of healthy aging were not appearance or genetics. The stronger predictors actually were physical activity, social connectivity, purpose, the sleep quality, and daily behavior. So those actually were independent of having any chronic conditions like diabetes, hypertension. So when they corrected the numbers, those things that are social, that are behavior driven, were actually more important than genetics, having family that live long age, and more important than physical appearance.
So it's always been, so we've been kind of aiming at like the wrong target instead of, I mean, not necessarily wrong, but just shifting the way you view either yourself and others. I feel like that is what we're kind of seeing here with this study is that you it's just the movement of life to still keep moving, keep going, try. I know that some people that try to remain really young with like biology things, they like stay enclosed in their house and they don't see the sun, and they like have all this regimen and vitamins and things they're taking and blah blah blah, but they are avoiding like being with others so that they don't get sick, or they're avoiding social connection because, you know, you may have a friend that is very overstimulating and that causes stress, and this person, you're having some drama and you can't get enough sleep at night. And I feel like there's a lot of people that do that in order to reduce the aging aspect of it, but in reality with the study you're saying that those are the things that liven your life, that make you want to, not want to, but just, you know, avoid the aging, and not avoid, more like, I don't know, it's just being alive, you know.
Absolutely. You know, this study actually shows that people that have purpose, that have strong sense of purpose, they live longer and they have a lot less cognitive decline. Talking about another phenomenon that comes with aging, which is dementia, mental health, which is a huge topic because it's a problem what we see today in developed countries in America and in Europe. So the social connectivity has an incredible value, and we cannot separate those. I'm gonna unpack a little bit, and we're gonna talk about years ago there was a book called Blue Zones. And that book, it was a researcher that went after the areas in the world where people live longer. And he was trying to unpack what was the main reason that people live longer with great sense of purpose and a vibrant, joyful life. So he found 4 or 5 locations. One of them is the Okinawans in Japan. The other one was in Europe, in Italy, called the Sardinians. And there's one here in America, in California, Loma Linda, and then another region around Costa Rica. So what he found is that these people have a very strong social connectivity at all ages. So the elders are living in the community. They're part of the community. They are sharing their wisdom, their experience, and they're moving around. They remain active.
Yeah.
Moving, walking, exercising. They also have sense of a spirituality and connectivity. Those were very interesting, different kind, but religious community. And they also have a kind of a what we call balanced diet with some difference between the regions, but overeating was not a part of this kind of the behavior that he saw. And this research in JAMA in 2023 confirms that. So biologically, we respond to the way we live.
Of course. Yeah.
So, and this is going to be a great focus of what we're going to be talking today.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that all these people are in different communities, obviously all around the world, and they kind of approach life the same way goes to show that it's been working, and there's no need to go on a trend and do this and do that, that if you just live your life. I feel like that's also very common. Like grandparents specifically, the older they are alive longer in like Hispanic communities because we all live with each other and they're always at the parties with us and we still go out, and they like to vacation and they like to go outside and play dominoes and talk to their grandkids. And I feel like it's also that kind of culture of not isolating the older generation. And I love talking to my grandma about random things all the time, and she's so ready to listen. And I feel like that's also hindering in her the like onset dementia if she were to get anything like that. I pray to God she doesn't ever, because I love her so much. But stuff like that, where she's like still reliving the memories and knowing a lot of things and talking about it, I feel like is actively using her brain in that way, and she can just keep on reliving her old memories and lifestyles and things like that, but kind of live vicariously through her kids and her grandkids as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is such an important topic in our country today, in the U.S. and in Europe. You can find when we talk about the blue zone in the Italians and Spanish community in Europe. But then you find a country like England that is facing an enormous amount of people living in isolation, so much so that the government in England, the parliament, approved a minister position to address loneliness. It's called the Minister of Loneliness, because they have over 250,000 people living in isolation, that they don't have social connectivity. So that has become such a big issue that the Surgeon General in the United States a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, he actually emphasized in one statement, which it was actually backed by research, that loneliness and isolation has equal, similar impact in our health, similar to smoking. So loneliness equates to smoking as a disease, as a problem, as a social problem that can impact your biology. Wow. So the way we live impact our biology tremendously.
Wow. And I feel like that is talked about a lot, and there's a huge difference between being alone and also being lonely. Because you could be lonely, or I mean, you could be alone and just, like having alone time for a little bit, like sitting aside and reading, not talking to anyone, like regaining your social battery. But I feel like loneliness is a big difference between that, where it's like these people feel like they have no one, they have no connection, no one to really talk to. And I feel like in England, that's more seen in the older generation, maybe because that's just that culture there, that once the kids go off, no more. Like, they don't really talk to them, they don't come and visit, they live in smaller places. Also, the weather there is kind of like...
But we see this here too. We see
I guess,
a tremendous amount of people living in isolation and loneliness in America. And that is not just, that you retreat to charge your batteries, which I strongly recommend that. There is an enormous evidence for taking that time off, similar to observing the Sabbath, and a time that you disconnect to recharge. That is a necessary thing. There is all kind of evidence to support that. But what we're talking here in loneliness and isolation, these are people that they spend days. These are people that spend days without seeing or talking or interacting, above all things, with anybody. They are sometimes days and weeks without coming out of their houses, or living in places where the isolation is so tremendously that the social connectivity is lost. And the lack of social connectivity, it's a ripple effect. Then you lose a sense of purpose. And purpose, there's strong evidence that people can live functional, longer, with tons of energy if they find a sense of purpose.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people that are especially older find their sense of purpose within their family, and, having kids and their kids having kids, and then coming back together, and then, kind of enjoying the generations that they have kind of created. And I feel like that's very seen in more Hispanic cultures. But that is kind of sad that they don't see people for a long time.
Absolutely. But I think when we talk about what research shows that ways to tackle, and this is what we're going to be expanding on the next episode, we'll see the connectivity in the community. You're talking about the Hispanic culture. There's many other cultures that they do the same thing. That the elders are part of the community. They're heavily involved in their family. But for older people, for the older population, the sense of belonging to the society or their purpose cannot be solidly linked to helping their children and their grandchildren's grow and expand. They need to have a network of social connectivity that goes beyond that.
A separate one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because then I feel like that impacts them a lot, and then they feel like they're super connected with their kids, and however they act and however they continue their life is how their kid has to, and it always will be linked. But if there's a time where that can get kind of separated and they live their own life and they live like we live our own lives and they live their own lives, I love seeing that, like when old people just get together with each other and they play games outside, or they're like doing tai chi at the park or something, and it's just a bunch of them getting together and they have that sense of community. I think it's so heartwarming. It's so heartwarming.
Absolutely. I have seen it. I have seen it in Italy. The elder population going around, sitting in the corner, talking, getting involved in some social activities, whether it's in church, in social communities, or places that they can find a hobby or be a volunteer in a place that push them to get out of bed every day and to move. So in our next episode, we're going to be expanding multiple things. We're going to be diving deeper into the value of what we are focused here predominantly, which is the social connectivity, the sense of purpose, maintaining yourself active, maintaining yourself engaged in the society. Those things will expand your life and will increase your value, and we need that as a society. We need the older population to pass down the wisdom of the years learned and lived.
Yeah.
But we're also going to be diving into what are the other things that we can do, habits that we can create at any age. We're going to talk about exercise, that I talk about that all the time. We're going to go over diet and what are the things that are out there about intermittent fasting. What are the things that could be so extreme that are going to be more damaging than anything else. So we're going to try to get everything and put it in a pot. Yes. And we're going to be cooking a recipe or prescriptions that are evidence-based, are habit creating, and they are not going to be so crazy that you're going to have to derail your life and pursue just this focus or this purpose. We're going to talk about supplements, and we're going to talk about things that are out there in the market today. Research, I get questions all the time about the upcoming research on metformin and some other medications that may also, prolong the life of the cells. So we will go into all of that, and we're going to put a time to the things that we should pursue and other things that we should be aware of, waiting for more research to really give us a solid prescription. But in the meantime, I do want this episode to remain what the evidence shows. Let's go out there and focus in social connectivity. Let's be a part of a community. Let's pursue purpose. There are actual questionnaires that we can find, and we can help our elders find purpose in their lives. So
yeah, I love that. I'm very excited. I feel like there's so much more to talk about the next episode. So come back for that, because I will also be learning along with you watching. And with this, we are excited for our next episode. We have a lot coming and kind of restructuring how we're recording and what we're talking about. But I've learned a lot this episode. I hope you did too. I am young, but I am aging. So, and I see it in my white hairs. But this is a lot of things that I could also apply to my life right now that can allow me to move forward in peace. But all of this information is now available to you, and then come back for a free prescription and in order to live longer. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you come back next time. Bye.